Welcome to Let's Be Frank. I noticed you've forgotten what episode we're on, and I've just realized I have two. I'll have it down
Yeah,
somewhere. We're 20 something.
20 something, yeah.
um, but you've recently come back from travel to um, Australia, Singapore, Malaysia. Um,
hmm
so we had a little bit of a recording break, but it won't have been a big break for anyone who follows us. um,
Yeah,
but yeah, we thought maybe we could chat a little bit about your travels. I can ask you some questions and see where we go from there. We do talk a lot about well, I seem to talk a lot about places I go. We have done your South African road trip, so it's interesting just to see our
yeah.
observations about traveling and how people live elsewhere. Do you want to maybe just give an overview of why you were going over there, how long you were there for, which places you visited, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Yeah, so primary destination was Australia, specifically Brisbane, because I have a daughter, a son-in-law, and two grandchildren there, and obviously to go and visit and spend time with them in their natural environment. Um, the trip actually came about when my granddaughter, who is 6 at the moment, she's 6 now, but she was still 5 when she asked if I was going to be at a dance recital at the end of the year. So,
Okay.
and
That's a
that
very
incidentally,
important reason to
it was
travel.
a very important reason, yeah. Um, um, so anyway, it was obviously on the cards. I've been wanting to go and travel, go and visit. It's the first time post COVID that I have managed to get out of the country.
Mhm.
I then decided to have a quick stopover in Singapore and venture into Malaysia just to go play golf. So it was so it was basically 2 days on the way there, and then on the way back I had just an extended layover in Singapore again, which
Okay.
I dedicated to golf. Just to I don't know, what else do you do in a city for one day when you're not really into the retail part of it and so
Yeah.
on?
Did you manage to
So
get a four ball or were you just playing on your own? There's a thumbs up.
that was no. So I mean, you obviously make a booking and you get to play with whoever they decide to pair you with.
Okay.
So on the first game in Singapore, I ended up with one native Singaporean. Is that what they are called?
Sounds right.
uh, a New Zealander and an Australian. So that was really nice. It was a very pleasant experience.
Yeah.
Um, in Malaysia, it wasn't as busy, so I played by myself
Hmm.
over 2 days, which is something I don't mind doing at all.
Do you have your classical
Um,
music in your ears?
yeah, so I'm pretty okay with that kind of thing, just taking in the sights and so on. And then coming back, I in Singapore played with a Scottish gentleman and a Chinese lady. So always nice to kind of be paired up with
Yeah.
people from very, very different cultures and so on.
I hadn't actually ever
And
considered that about golf being quite a nice way to meet strangers. If you,
yeah,
yeah,
obviously, if you go to a place like Singapore, where
yeah.
I'm not sure what the percentage of the population that are expats, you've got a
Hmm.
very, very high probability of being paired with. But one of the nice things about golf as a vehicle to meet people is people are generally very accommodating and friendly if you join their group. But in Australia, I played around as well, where I ended up with three members from this particular club there where I played,
Hmm.
and they were just so friendly and helpful in terms of, giving you lines. You should hit it there. You should hit it here. Even though they've seen that you can't hit anything where you intend to hit it. Um, um, so yeah, that's generally a great way to meet people and get a bit of an understanding of, what's happening around you and so
Mhm.
on. So anyway, so that's kind of like the long, short version of what the trip was about. Um,
How was the
what
dance recital?
that was spectacular. That was
Worth
spectacular.
the whole trip.
Yes, worth the whole trip. Yes, it was on a Sunday in the school auditorium, but all the seats were booked out. It was amazing to see the support. Obviously, every parent and as many grandparents as possible in there. But yeah, no, so that was great to go and experience as well.
Yeah.
Um, the One of the other interesting things for me is you know I was a little bit concerned about leaving the country and flying when there was clearly a lot of tension
Mhm.
in a particular area of the world.
Mhm.
Um, Actually, just to get there to the other side and see nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a negative sense of way, but it's just like people go about their lives. And so I'm not I'm not sure if maybe I, I obviously didn't go around asking people what they think of the situation and so
Yeah.
on. But just to see that things look pretty normal. Um, and an airport, I would suppose, is a very fake normal
Yeah.
place because when you're there at an airport, everyone is there with a kind of like a similar um, purpose,
Mhm.
whether that's for pleasure, for work, or for whatever. But people are traveling, and so anyway. But once you get outside the airport as well, just to see people just living their lives relatively normal, and I got the same concerns and I got the same worries.
Yeah.
Um, and then having spent more time in Australia and maybe had the opportunity to chat to more locals and also uh, made the made the mistake to watch the local television, mostly the news,
Yeah.
just to get a sense of what's going on there. She's like, wow, really? These things that you guys are complaining about, I mean, is that the best that you can do? Um, it's like real shit going on out there in
Yeah.
the world.
Oh, we had a good laugh. We were driving to Wolverhampton last week, and we saw police on the other side of the motorway, like two police vehicles and the police out of their cars. And it was it was like a thing out of Hot Fuzz. They were helping swans cross the motorway.
Oh, wonderful. Okay,
We
that's
just had
phenomenal.
such a good laugh because it was like I think that happened in Hot Fuzz, the movie, that the police were helping
Yeah,
swans cross the road, and that's exactly what happened on the motorway.
my word. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Anyway,
that's great. So
yeah.
yeah, so anyway, so kind of helps to I don't know, ground you a little bit and you know be realistic about this impending doom, which I think I'm a little bit prone to kind of
Yeah.
build up in my head. Yeah, I still maintain that there's big shit on the way, but it's not,
Yeah.
all doom and so on. Anyway, so that was the travels. It was great. Um, I always enjoy Australia. I enjoy Brisbane as a city.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I enjoy it more than I enjoyed Sydney or Melbourne.
Yeah. I
And I
haven't been
don't
to
get my
any, so I can't
And I
weigh
did
in,
make a
but
promise now to,
yeah.
yeah, to next time to fly via Perth, so
Okay.
I can experience that as well. But it's got a massive river. It's close to the beach. The climate's fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, it's it's a very friendly city in my opinion.
Yeah.
You can walk and take scooters and take water taxis and just get around a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you
and the
encounter a
city
lot of
is
South Africans?
um, I did. It's it's impossible to go anywhere in Australia without encountering South Africans.
Yeah.
So so obviously at the daily school run to go and pick up the kids, I mean you run into South Africans there.
Yeah.
Um, but then also every now and then um, in in town, in the supermarket or whatever, you will either pick up the accent or you will hear
Hear
somebody
someone in
speak
Afrikaans.
Afrikaans,
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's quite a lot of that.
Okay.
But yeah, very friendly city and a place that I'm not tired yet of visiting. I think that there's a couple of places where um, you can go there once or twice, and then you go, okay, cool, that's enough.
Mm-hmm.
There are more places. Anyway, so obviously I'm a little bit biased, and maybe because I'm a little bit more um, have the experience of being taken places
Yeah.
by
By
people that have been there
locals.
for,
Yeah.
yeah. So I had the most phenomenal experience at the planetarium, at the Brisbane planetarium.
Yeah.
I've got this obviously this dome with the screen. I forget the actual ceiling, what as
Yes.
they do in planetariums. But this thing's got 8K resolution, so it's phenomenally clear, etc., etc. And these cool chairs that you sit back in and watch this thing. And what I went to watch there was the Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon album.
Oh, wow.
So they're running, it's the 50th anniversary
Yeah.
of Dark Side of the Moon. And they're running this until, I don't know, somewhere in early 2024. But these shows where somebody has gone and all you do is they play the album from beginning to end,
Yeah.
and then there's these stunning visuals that they kind of matched up to it, and obviously a lot of it out in space and so on. So, um, yeah,
That's very cool.
that was a really cool experience. Anyway, thoroughly enjoyed my time over there.
Nice. So, just on the immigration piece, because I know you've got a daughter that lives there and one that's on her way there or making plans to go there. Um, the UK just recently announced much stricter immigration laws. Um,
Okay.
and I'm just curious if Australia is doing anything similar because it would have prevented me from moving over here if they were already in effect, the laws that they
Mm.
have just put into effect. So,
So there's some talk, um, but I think that is just politicians at the moment. I don't see Australia clamping down. Look, they don't have the same levels of problems
yeah,
that the UK and Europe are facing at the moment. I do think that they will become stricter, um, but they have always had a very good system in terms of, if you have the following qualifications and um, experience, etc., etc. You know, we have shortages in these
okay,
jobs or in these skill areas, etc.
yeah,
Therefore, you are welcome to come.
mm-hmm.
So I think their process has always been, and they've been very mostly, as far as I understand, very strict in terms of not allowing asylum seekers in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There is a little bit of a kerfuffle at the moment about there's a bunch of people that arrived on boats some time ago. If I remember correctly, something like 180 of them. They were then put in a detainee camp of
Mm-hmm.
some sort. It looks like a resort to me, but it's got a fence around it, and therefore it is. Anyway, they were then taken to court,
Mm-hmm.
but they were not allowed to detain these people, even though they are in the country illegal. Anyway, you know how these things
Mm-hmm.
go. They were then, the government was then forced to release them. Um, and now, fairly recently, what two of those people have been arrested for sexual assault,
Yeah.
um, and a couple of others are just not communicating with the authorities anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So you can say it's a very small problem,
Mm.
4 out of 180. But I don't think that that's the point, and I think that that's clearly been demonstrated in other cities
Yeah.
around the world. That so I don't see Australia clamping down pretty soon.
Yeah.
There's some there's some other things that are, um, but that's not. These are not things that I pick up or that I saw when I was in Australia. But I do see that there's some other legislation that they want to pass, which is more like the World Economic Forum initiatives that they're trying to push,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm not so sure whether that will actually happen or not. Like most countries, there's not a clear political party in Australia that can say, okay, cool, we've got this sewn up for the next, election or next cycle or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it's also very much a fine balance in terms of who is going to win the next election and which party will be. Uh, anyway, so
Yeah.
um,
Okay. Well,
the,
yeah.
the the whole thing about immigration, it's interesting that you touched on that because with Poland, with the new Polish prime minister that was now I think elected or announced yesterday or so, there's some potential changes that they're expecting to happen there. Although, so the previous guy
Yeah.
said not allowing any asylums in here,
Mm-hmm.
and apparently the new guy is saying, "Come, you're
Uh,
welcome," etc. I
that's
don't know.
interesting because it seems like a lot of countries are going the other way and electing very right wing.
Oh yeah,
I mean, the Netherlands is one of
oh,
them. Argentina,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely love both those choices. By the way, so so if I may just correct you on one thing there. The
yeah.
guy from Argentina is not right wing at all. He's a
Okay.
libertarian. He's a libertarian.
I've just been catching headlines, not full
Yeah.
stories, so that's
So
probably
that's unfortunately
yeah.
so just because he is not keen to find out every person's pronouns, etc. He is
Yeah.
now branded as right wing.
Okay.
But
Fair.
do you know what the first act is that he signed when he became the president now
No.
on two days ago? He reduced the government from 27 departments to 9 departments.
Good for
Is it
him.
27 or 21? Just like that.
Yeah.
And that is one of the things that he said. The bloated government and all these bureaucrats that are just eating up money and not doing what they cut them.
Yeah,
So
good for
anyway,
him.
so I think it's going to be great to see what happens in the Netherlands as well,
Yeah.
because the Netherlands were going so far down this woke
Yeah.
rabbit hole with the farmers. and the cows and the etc. etc. I think that um, people have had enough.
Yeah. So
So
yeah, I must say, as an immigrant who had to jump through a lot of hoops to get to the UK, I agree with a lot of the stricter rules that are coming into
mm,
effect. It makes me sad that, well, I'm happy that I made it when I did and I didn't
yeah,
have to jump through these hoops. But I mean, they haven't changed like the financial requirements since 2016. So they needed to increase them because people are
absolutely,
coming over with all their children and brothers and sisters and
yeah,
everyone, and they can't afford to support them, and so they put strain on the NHS and all the rest of it. Which, but yeah, so I think it needed a change. I'm not saying that the
correct.
change is bad. We've got a bit off topic because actually, what I wanted to ask you about was just before you left, and we didn't have a chance to talk about it on Let's Be Frank yet, but you were trying a new lifestyle. I want to say diet. It's not a diet, kind of lifestyle. So maybe do you want to tell us a
Mm.
bit about that and then how it went in Australia?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so um, I suppose you can call it a diet, the carnivore diet. At some specific date in September, I started eating only meat or only animal product. In other
Yeah,
words, I eat
eggs,
meat, I eat eggs, I eat fish,
cheese.
although not a hell of a lot. I do eat cheese, but again, not a hell of a lot. I do eat a little bit of yogurt every
Mm-hmm.
now and then. Um, um, so that's like basically the bulk of my diet. Um, do eat a little bit of fermented products. So kimchi,
Mm-hmm.
small quantities, and kefir.
Okay.
Kefir I can now drink like milkshake, but it
I was
tastes
actually going to ask you
beautifully.
what you drink. Caffeine, still coffee?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's kind of like one of the things that I still want to kind of wean myself off, but not too much, too quickly.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what drove me to do that was not so much weight loss. I mean, it's just like there's a little bit of very specific weight loss that I was after, um, but it was like other things, you know. These like um, cognitive ability.
Yeah.
There's like joint health. There's like gut health. There's like skin health. There's like a whole bunch of these other things that are more important to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just chasing a number on a scale.
Yeah.
Um, so, so anyway, initially I thought I would give it 30 days. That seemed like quite a stretch to only eat meat for 30 days. Turns out it is the easiest thing in the world
Yeah.
to do. I didn't suffer real bad withdrawal symptoms because you must remember one of the, the other big factors for me is how do you eliminate sugar from your diet?
Yeah.
Because sugar is public enemy number one.
And it's in
That it
everything.
it is in freaking
Yeah.
everything. You know, even people who think that they eat healthy, just your average um, quantity of fruit and vegetables that people consume contains so much sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Um, bread, grains, pastas, etc., etc. I mean, it is actually quite scary if you start looking into this a little bit. Anyway, so that was my kind of like my main motivation, and I figured that if I want to eliminate sugar, then what can and what can't I? I don't want to go on because I also don't think that all of the sweeteners that you and the substitutes and
Yeah,
so on are good for you and
xylitol
so
and
on.
stevia
Yeah,
and all those. It's the same
just get
thing.
rid of.
Yeah.
Correct. Anyway, so the easiest for me was meat, and I love meat.
Mm-hmm.
So didn't quite know how I would react or adapt to having steak for breakfast and steak for lunch and steak for dinner.
And a bit
Turns
of
out it's
bacon on the
phenomenal.
side or some chicken on the
Yes,
side.
yes. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I tell you, there is no breakfast like a ribeye steak with some bacon on the side.
Sounds good.
It is phenomenal. Now, obviously, you also have to kind of let your mind, and that's why it's important if anybody considers this to actually do the research. There's so many resources available to read
Yeah.
up and understand this, but you've got to get past those concepts and ideas that we built up through our lives about what is a healthy portion
Yeah.
and what are the things that we should
A
avoid and so
balanced
on.
meal.
A balanced
All the
meal is
colors on the plate and yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
And nothing could be further from the truth from where I'm looking at it now.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, so I did it for 30 days. I actually felt phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I um, I didn't have much of a what they call keto flu in the beginning,
Yeah.
where you feel a little bit under the weather or adapt. Your body has to adapt to that and so on. I started getting loads and loads of energy, and that becomes a new normal. So, you know, so that lasted extremely well. And then I had to, okay, cool. I'm now 30 days. I want to continue with this. Um, I'm going to do the next 30 and then, okay, obviously now into this travel. How do you cope with this while you're traveling? And that was a little bit of a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then there was also the other thing about, okay, cool. I want to experience what is it like to, what will my body do after 60 days of no ice cream
Yeah.
if I reward it with an ice cream? Is it going to love me for it? Is he going to hate me for it,
Yeah.
etc.? So I did, I did during the course of the holiday. I ate quite a few ice creams. Um, I did eat pizza once. I did have a cheeseburger once. I did have some French fries once or twice, but in small quantities, simply because it doesn't really appeal to me that much anymore. So mostly I stuck to
Okay.
uh, the time that I ate the pizza. That was like the next day I could absolutely feel it. I felt horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I felt horrible. Um, and I was thinking to myself, shit, is this how? Did I just think that, well, maybe I had one slice too much last? Whereas this time I know I didn't eat too much pizza. It's like, yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
So things that didn't affect me is I can't really say that the ice cream affected me. So maybe it's because it was in small quantities and it wasn't every day.
Yeah.
Um, Bread, I had sourdough bread, and I do understand that of the breads, sourdough, because it is fermented, is obviously the better. But by and large, I stuck to my regime and my eating.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, um, the traveling back was a little bit of a journey because with the long layover, it was 48 hours, and it was airport lounges, restaurants, air, airplanes with horrible food anyway,
Yeah.
and so on. So that was a bit of a challenge. And
Yes.
really, when I came back, I couldn't wait to just kind of
Okay.
settle back into this lifestyle. So I'm committed. Um, I'm seeing the positive benefits. I'm now where I realize that, okay, cool, to really see if it'll make a big effect on the things that I wanted it to to um, to to accomplish. I'm gonna have to give it like 6 months or so.
Okay. So you're still in it. You're on it. You.
Absolutely,
Well, then
absolutely.
we're definitely going to check in again
Yeah,
in a
no,
future
fantastic.
episode. I did also want to talk to you about your other challenge, but I think we might be out of time, so it might be a bigger story for another day. But you are also on day
No,
30 of quitting smoking.
of yes, of quitting smoking. Um,
Okay,
so no, that was the easiest one. I do
amazing.
still every single day feel like a smoke,
Yeah,
which but I'm starting to see the patterns now. It's kind of
okay.
like there where I'm bored or um, okay, the next thing only starts in 15 minutes. Why don't I grab a smoke? No, it's
Yes,
just like so. It's not like I have those cravings in terms of I want to smoke,
it's more a
but
habit.
I yeah, I planned it. I knew exactly when I was going to stop smoke. Knew exactly why I was going to stop smoking, and I think that helped me to kind of get
Yeah.
through it. Um, so yeah, no,
Well, congratulations. 30 days
pretty
is an
happy with that.
achievement.
Yes,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Cool. Well, thank you very
Anyway,
much for filling us in. I think that we hit on some really interesting topics here. I definitely want to talk more about carnivore. It's something that I've considered a few times. Don't know if I would be able to do it, but I definitely want to ask you more questions about it and find out more about it. So, thank you very much
yeah,
for
I'm
sharing.
happy to yeah share some resources around that. Most people that are interested in doing it, people who are generally meat lovers, um, wonder and they doubt if they will be able to do it. So I fully understand where that reservation comes from. But yeah, no,
Cool.
absolutely. There's enough resources and communities out there.
Yeah. Thank you so much,
Great.
Herman. It's nice to see you again
Thanks.
and catch up.
Yes.
Till
Great.
next time.
Fantastic. We'll do it soon.
Bye.
Cheers.